Hello folks, I hope that you're having just a great and safe day in our modern COVID world today. Today we're taking a look at Richard Matheson. We're going to go back to him. This will be my third book that I've read for him. I knocked out a book that was on my bucket list, What Dreams May Come, which was written in the 70s. In it, Richard Matheson writes a very different style of thing that he had written previously. I've reviewed for you I Am Legend, the 50s, which is his first novel. This is like his 10th novel, and so forth. And so we're going to take a look at What Dreams May Come. I was very lucky. I actually knocked off 2 books this past week that are in my queue for my bucket list. The other one is Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep by Philip K. Dick, which I'll also be recording for this as soon as this is over with. I'll be adding it to my Thursday. You'll get it finally. You'll get it in my Thursday. I'm currently dedicating to Philip K. Dick. You'll get this one sooner on Tuesday. I already planned this for a Tuesday for you. In fact, I'll plan it for you for next Tuesday. So it'll be the first one of the 3 that I've just reviewed for you today. And then the other one is going to be by Terry Brooks. So let's take a look at What Dreams May Come. Now, this is a very, very different book by a very accomplished writer. Richard Matheson is a Hugo winning writer. He started writing before the Science Fiction Writers of America came to be. They gave him one of his short stories that he wrote in the early 50s. They actually put in the Hall of Fame for science fiction. So this is a guy whose name you should know from a science fiction standpoint. You should also know him from a horror standpoint too. In I Am Legend, he applies a science fiction standard and analysis to a traditional horror element, vampires and their disease, and it's analyzed from a scientific. It looks at them from a science fiction element, and so forth, which is where the modern fantasy, the fantasy trope left of Gothic horror, and modern sort of science fiction analysis of vampirism begun. He also influenced the zombies. Night of the Living Dead takes a lot of its notes from this novel, and it also inspired 3 movies too. So you may have encountered I Am Legend through those 3 movies. Well, What Dreams May Come also has a movie too, which I have not seen. So unlike some of my other reviews where something has inspired a movie, in this case I will not be talking about the Robin Williams and Cuba Gooding Jr. movie because I have not seen it. So I can't talk about how the adaptation compares to this novel. This novel feels a lot like Inferno by Dante for me, particularly the 3rd part of it. So we're going to open up and we're going to find ourselves that this character is speaking from beyond the grave, and he is writing this novel, and he's speaking it to a medium who can interpret and hear what ghost people are saying, and so forth. It's a rare talent, and so forth. But he can hear the past and what they're saying. So he is annotating this. Dictating it, not annotating it. He's dictating it out to folks. I'm actually going to leave that in there because I think it's funny. But anyway, he's dictating the novel out to a medium who has written it down over a few months and has delivered it to a family member, his brother. And there are enough facts in it that show that this was not just something researched, but actually is being written by the person who actually is claiming to have written it. The medium just didn't spend 6 months doing research on the family and then hand it off without getting money back from that time or that research or selling it or something like that. So the brother is skeptical but believes that this could very well be the novel, and he is now giving it to you so that you can read it. And that's kind of the framing device for the novel, What Dreams May Come. And I had a high school teacher who, in English, and she said that the structure of a story supports its meaning. However, an author has chosen to structure it, there's a reason. And that reason highlights the meaning. And in this case, I think the idea is to add a level of rationality to it, because this is going to be talking about death and the afterlife and what comes next, and has a lot of exploration of that. In fact, it reminds me of Stranger in a Strange Land by Robert E. Heinlein, because there's less plot and more world building. And Stranger in a Strange Land is 600 pages of world building, and maybe 100 of those pages has a plot to it. The other 500 pages is just world building. So if you like Stranger in a Strange Land, you're gonna love this. And so forth. It's a lot more world building, a lot less plot, which is fine. It works for the story, and so forth, as you find out what actually happens in Richard Matheson's world, what is actually happening, who was right, who was wrong, and so forth, and how things can change. It's very interesting to kind of see it. And our main character was somebody who was not a believer, did not believe in an afterlife, was not like a Christian or something like that. So we're going to see what his take is on the afterlife too. But again, I think the framing device helps to ground the story. I think that's the structure, and make it more believable as a story, since this is going over the afterlife. So that's why I think why the framing device is there. But anyway, we'll take a look at the story now. Our main character we're going to be looking at, he has just recently died. But he hasn't accepted that he's died. So we're going to see him as soon as he has died in the hospital. Afterwards, and he believes that he's looking at himself. He thinks it's a dream. There's a person there who tells him it's not a dream, that he's died, but he doesn't believe it. And so forth. He believes it's just a dream, and that somebody's just telling him it's a dream, and that he'll wake up from it. And he is experiencing this as his first few moments after he has died, but somebody who believes that he's lived. So you see the first few moments of his life after he's died, and this is the first couple of chapters of the novel. And then we're going to move pretty quickly into him watching the lives of these people. He firmly believes that he has not died. That's going to be kind of the first few chapters of the novel before he comes to slowly realize that, in fact, actually he has died, and so forth. And then once he has, what's next? And that what's next moves us to the second chapter, which is called Summerland, which will move on to kind of explaining the afterlife, what the afterlife looks like. There are different levels, different spheres, and so forth. The third chapter, This Mortal Coil, I think is the one I think is really heavily inspired by Inferno from Dante, and so forth, as they descend into a different level, and they descend deeper and deeper into that different level. And a lot of the themes and so forth, to me, seem to really sort of be an homage to Inferno from Dante. And then finally, the final chapter is What Dreams May Come, where you get the conclusion of the novel. There is a plot. The plot really starts to pick up. I think the first part is, are you going to accept whether or not you're dead? We know he's dead as a reader. How long is he going to? And we know he has an advisor who's telling him he's dead. How long is it going to be? Then after that, it's exploring the world. That's the plot for like 100 pages, but the world's kind of explained and so forth, and what it looks like and so forth. So if you want to call it exploring the world is the plot for like 100 pages, when we've got really just world building, and then after that the plot picks up again about 150 pages into this novel, which is about 290 pages in my copy. Let me give you the exact number. It is 282 pages long. In my oversized copy of this book, which was fine. I read it in like 2 days, so I really conquered it. Boom. So that is my synopsis of What Dreams May Come. It's well written. Richard Matheson by now is an incredibly talented writer. This is a guy who's has science fiction stories in the Hall of Fame, who's won a Hugo Award. This is somebody at the top of his game. He had written a lot of science fiction and horror stories in genres of speculative fiction. This work is still speculative fiction, but leaves behind some of the genres that he was writing. He wanted to break out, and he did so in a major way. You could argue which one of these two novels, I Am Legend or What Dreams May Become, is more impactful, or his bigger novel. I think you could argue that all day long. They're so different. That I prefer I Am Legend. I think it's the stronger novel, but it's not as well written as this one is, but I think it's a stronger novel than this one is. I give this one an 8 out of 10. I would prefer some more plot and less world building, but the world building was great. It was fine. I didn't have any major issues with it. But I do think it was a better written novel than I Am Legend. I just think I Am Legend was a stronger novel. But he's a better writer by now. Now he's written 10 novels. He's 2 decades into his career. He is somebody who's honed his craft. And this is a guy who's a strong writer. And I could not recommend Richard Matheson to you more. So that is and this is a good, I think, on-ramp to Richard Matheson if you want to explore him further, because it is so well written, it's so well regarded, it's such a strong novel, it does a lot of great things. And so I think it's a good on-ramp for Richard Matheson if you want to start. I also think I Am Legend is a good on-ramp for him too, as the first modern vampire take, which most modern vampire short stories, novels, movies, video games to have taken after in great ways. So there you are. I'll leave you to it. That is What Dreams May Come. Have you read it? What did you think of it? Did you agree or disagree with anything in my video? Please let me know in the comments below. I am happy to engage you with it further. If you enjoyed this video, please feel encouraged to hit that subscribe button because there's going to be so many more of these classics to follow. And finally, I just want to take some time out of my day and thank you because you took some of your time out of your day and watched my video, right? We all have so many things pulling us in so many different directions. So the fact that you spent this time with me is incredibly, incredibly humbling. And I really do appreciate that. So thanks again and have a great day.